Foundation was founded in 2013. God's Morning Foundation was founded in 2013 in the memory of Darrell Dollaz Durant to create scholarships for children with a passion in the arts. Kleph was a well-known producer, songwriter, engineer, and youth counselor.
I am the sister to Kleph. I'm also the founder and CEO of the God's Morning Foundation. We started the foundation because of Kleph. Kleph, aside from just being involved with music, had a very strong passion for the kids in his community.
Kleph's inspirational movement motivated the family to go beyond stimulating individuals through social media by promoting a vehicle that will continue to inspire for a lifetime. For more information about God's Morning Foundation, visit our website or follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
Welcome to This Ought to Be Good. I'm DJ Mordecai. I'm the host, and I am happy to have special guests from God's Morning Foundation, Trenna and JD. Durant, how y'all doing?
Doing good.
Thank you for being here. I wanted to kind of show those videos, just kind of give a little bit of background about the foundation. I thought that would be a good kind of place to start. And one of my first questions was about kind of where were you all both born and where did you grow up? Just a little bit more kind of background.
Let's go oldest to youngest. So Jay.
Well, I was born in Pensacola, Florida, at the Naval Air Station, and but we were military brats, so we kind of grew up everywhere.
Yeah, and I was born at Fort Benning, Georgia. As Johnny said, being military, everybody was born somewhere different.
Mm-hmm. Can you share some like childhood memories of Kleph and like how he developed his passion for music?
Oh my gosh. I think music was always his life. I'm sure Johnny will also say the same, but he was always running around playing music on cassette players, singing and dancing. It's always been in his bones, as you can say. And I can really talk about a memory that I had of him when he was in high school, and he was talking about he had to deliver the Gettysburg Address, I believe it was, or something. And he was like, I'm never going to remember it. And I told him, I said, just put it to music. And he was, and he rapped it in class and got an A. So, it's always been something for him and all about him. And I think that it was definitely something that made him comfortable to deliver any kind of message that he needed to get across. Wouldn't you agree, Johnny?
Yeah. But and to kind of, piggyback on what you said, we all are into music. Trenna and I both played in band in school. I played the saxophone. She played the clarinet. She was actually our drum major in high school. Mm-hmm. And so I was in a local band at Fort Stewart, Georgia, which is in Hinesville, called the Black Diamond Band. And I remember Kleph coming to the shows. Now he's 7 years younger than me. He's like sitting, stage side watching. And so we just thinking, he's just watching. One day we had a performance and our drummer had just gotten a brand new drum set. We were backstage and all of a sudden we hear this drumming going on. And the drummer's like, who's playing my drums? We go out, it's Kleph. He's on the drums. Mm-hmm. He has been watching all this time. So he's been developing like his eye and ear for music. So that was like the memory I always share with people, that he actually was paying attention even at a young age.
And he knew how to play without music. He was probably like the first one of us that really adapted to instruments and just would take it on and just try it out and just master it as much as he could. So he was always that child that was very special with just getting into music any way he can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When I met him, I think Nostalgia was coming out right around that time, and I was really impressed talking to him about hearing how he played all the instruments, basically like kind of replaying a lot of it, and brought in singers to sing parts and stuff, because like that was something I was thinking of doing, but like to see him already doing it was like pretty awesome. How old was he when he was like stage side at the show and playing the drums?
Well, see, I was high school, so I played in a band from 10th to 12th grade. So I would say if I'm 15, he's around 8, 9 years old. So
Wow.
he's young. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, he's at all our shows. We're playing outdoor events and stuff. And, him being a little brother, he's following along. But I'm not thinking he's paying attention too much.
Right.
But man, he really was.
Mm-hmm.
He's paying attention. Yeah.
Yeah, and shortly after that, my father actually bought the drummer that Johnny's talking about. He got a brand new set. He bought his old set.
That's right.
So it impressed my father and my parents to want him to just continue on. And so he had that old set at home, and then he was just drumming away. But yeah, like we said, he started out without even reading music. He did, try to dabble in school band, but it really wasn't his thing.
Mm-hmm.
He really just wanted to do his own thing.
Mm-hmm. My next question was to Trenna, like about the creative environment. It sounds like, like you said, sort of musical family. Were there other friends in the neighborhood as well that were influential for him, like kind of getting into music, or was it just mostly just because the family was all into it?
It's kind of interesting you asked that question, because I would say yes and no. I think he was probably the leader of the pack, so to speak. But he was so much younger than us that really we didn't really know a lot of his friends per se until he really got older in high school. So even as he was like 8, 9 years old, as Johnny was saying, he was just really a loner doing it on his own, so to speak. Yeah. You agree, right, Jay?
Yeah, I agree. I think fast forward, when he's like in high school, I think once he's, hip hop started to come along, him and Dita started doing some things. And I remember after I left the military and came back to Richmond, that he would be on the phone with Dita and they'd be writing lyrics over the phone to beats. Now I remember them, like he's spitting his verse over the phone and he's listening to Dita on the other side. And I remember that, but yeah, I think he was definitely a leader. He's kind of like in the forefront of what they were doing in hip hop, especially in Richmond.
What was your role in supporting Kleph's like musical journey, JD?
Just being a big brother. Being a big brother, trying to help him get heard. I mean, we were hustling cassette tapes. I still have a shoebox of cassette tapes right now. And the only thing I can play them on is this little stereo system that I have. I can plug it up and play. But, when he was going by the group name was 007 and the group was named Soul one time, which was an acronym for Students of the Universal Language. They had so many different names. And so just being a big brother, going to his shows and supporting him. But then the people around the town began to pick up on it. Guy named Cam that was at Virginia State had the show Soul Clap, and he would bring Kleph on, and he would, do live, versions over tracks of playing. He would rhyme live. And so people started, like, who's this guy, man? Who's this little skinny kid from Virginia, And then they made their way to the Apollo. So it was just a lot of stuff, man. But we hustled, and there was no social media, we had none of that. And but it was a lot of word of mouth. And, with Petersburg being a small town and then him kind of dibbling and dabbling in Richmond, I think people just started to kind of take off from there.
I think we talked about it before. Is there video of the Apollo performance? Because I think Dita mentioned that as well.
It could be, but I don't have it. But I went to the Apollo one time with them. I was like the driver. And we ended up staying in Jersey at a friend of my house. Our car got broken into, came out, the window was broken out. They took a bag that was laying on the seat, which was nothing but like some old clothes and stuff. But, I think about it because I laugh. We're going across the George Washington Bridge. It's like 1, 2 in the morning. It's freezing. We got a broken window. And we trying to make it over to Jersey. But that was my support. I mean, I creative wise, that was all him. Yeah. People around him, but I was just being a big brother. That's all I was being.
Yeah.
Trenna, what inspired you to like found the God's Morning Foundation in memory of Kleph?
Well, I think it was more of a family, conversation. A few of Darrell's friends sent videos and things that they were doing with him at the time that he passed. And I was remembering watching one of the videos, and it was all just raw footage. And he looks into the camera and he just says, "I'm not done yet," like that. And at that point, I was just like, we got to do something, because it's like he was speaking to me, and I would have dreams about him and things like that. And then one day I called Johnny and I said, "Hey, Jay, what if we do God's Morning as, a foundation or something for him, and maybe just do scholarships for the kids, especially at risk youth, because that's what his passion was, is working with, kids that had issues." And Jay was like, "Yeah, it sounds great." And the reason why we went with God's Morning Foundation was, believe it or not, like the morning that I found out about him passing, my younger daughter was like, "Hey, I'm looking at IG and I don't see any posts from Uncle Darrell yet." And normally he would post something inspirational every morning and hashtag God's Morning. And shortly after that, I was actually on the road coming from Charlotte, going back to New Jersey, and got the phone call. And I was literally like 45 miles or 50 miles away from Petersburg at the time when that call, my father called and told me. So that whole God's Morning thing just stuck with me then, because like I said, my daughter was just looking for his post, that it didn't happen. And it was something that he would do, and they looked forward to it. And so then I just told my family, I said, "I'm just going to look and see about incorporating." And I was just really pleasantly surprised that the name was not being used anywhere. So we got the incorporation done, and then, got our bylaws and everything done, and just started, looking at, getting donations coming in. And, it was just a blessing to be able to, give our first scholarship out that first time. It was a small amount. It started out at 500. And then by the time we went to the young man's, Devontae Raines is his name, went to his school for his award ceremony, we gave him another 500. So it ended up being 1,000, but it was, small but mighty in our opinion, because as a family, we just wanted to do something good to keep his name alive, and do something that he would have loved to have done by helping other kids that are less fortunate do better in their lives.
Do you think the name came just from his head, or do you know if he heard it from somewhere? Or
I don't.
Phrase,
I don't. I think, it was just something that he started doing because, like, he was an early riser. I mean, like, I want to say Darrell will be up by 4 o'clock in the morning. I know you guys call him Kleph, but he's always Darrell to me, little brother Darrell. So, but he would be an early riser, and I would say he would post by 4 a.m. And so my kids were used to just waking up and, they're, out on IG, how kids are. And they're like looking for his inspirational posts for them to get their day started. And it wasn't there that morning, So it was just definitely a calling of something that we thought would be very beneficial to what he stood for, and his mission of giving back to his community and helping those less fortunate.
JD, can you tell us more? You mentioned some of Kleph's like early music projects. Like, what kind of, do you know what kind of like got him into hip hop? Like, was there any particular artist or group or album?
Well, I just think when, he came around that time, his teenage years, early teens, late teens, hip hop was really taking off. That's when hip hop was at its rawest. And so we were listening to a lot of the early stuff, like Tribe Called Quest. He loved Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Pete Rock was like his favorite producer at that time. Leaders of the New School. He talked a lot about them. So I think it was just the fact that hip hop was really taking off. And like most kids his age, they got into it. He didn't get in so much of the break dancing and all that stuff or the hip hop, but he just he was so creative. And so like writing lyrics and things like that was easy for him. Storytelling, that's all hip hop is. It was easy for him. And I can't write it. I write songs, but I can't write, hit raps. So that was just natural for him. And so he was in his element. And then when he got on stage, he was like a whole different person, but humble off the stage. And then I just wanted to add this, just kind of fast forward. He was bigger than just music enrichment, because we found a lot of people after he passed that weren't in music but had an experience with him that had nothing to do with music, and we're sitting there with our mouths just open because they're like talking about something he did for them or something they witnessed, like a homeless man walking in the snow in Richmond with no shoes, and Kleph goes to the trunk of his car and pops the trunk because he was a sneakerhead, kept sneaking and pulls some sneakers out and said, "Hey man, put these on your feet," and then had some food left over because they were leaving the restaurant and gave the man the food. We were hearing stories like that, so it was like he was bigger than just the music. A lot of people knew him because of the music, but it was so many other stories, man. And we just found out, I was just blown away because there was a lot of stuff I didn't know. Even my parents were sitting there like, wow. And I remember my dad said, we didn't know what we had. I mean, that quote is so powerful. We didn't know what we had because he was more than just, a hip hop artist and producer. He really cared about his community. He was mentoring kids from the Boys and Girls Club. We met some of the kids. We met some of the parents. They were devastated. That morning that he passed, he was supposed to be in court at 10:30 a.m. with a child. Child had gotten in some trouble and stuff. And so Kleph was going along with him to be a support system for him. That was the kind of guy he was. So he was bigger than just music.
When I met him, it was at Plan 9. He was always, digging in there. And, a lot of folks were, but I think I had come across some Ill Biscuits, records before then and kind of knew, in a general sense that he was from Richmond and, one of the few skills, being signed to Atlantic, or Big Beat, major, and then I had kind of heard that, they got dropped for kind of, or the album kind of got shelved, but I wasn't quite sure why. I think Kleph said they pushed the wrong video, the label kind of wanted to push this video first, and he was like, no, this should be the first video, became kind of heated or whatever. But I just remember he was I think he was skateboarding up to Plan 9 a lot. What got him into skateboarding? When did that happen?
I don't know. Like Trina said, he had a different group of friends, and he had skateboards on the wall in the studio, old skateboards. He had them up there. That was just, it was a fad at the time. People were getting into that, so that was his thing. He had the shoes. I think they were Skechers or something. A lot of kids wore when they was so
Airwalks or something like that.
Yeah. So he was just different. But I do want to make a comment about what you said about Atlantic. Honestly, I tell people all the time, I think he was ahead of his time. That's what I tell. He signed in '95, April '95. The "God Bless Your Life" single dropped, I think, in September. And I just think he was ahead of his time. I believe if he had got signed in 2000, his career would have been totally different. Because at the time that he was at Atlantic, and you can fact check this, Gerald Levert, Brandy, and In Vogue were on that label. Okay, so they were primarily an R&B label. They really, you think about it now, I don't even think Nas was there yet. I don't think, Lil Kim and all them came when they started a lot of the smaller labels getting label deals with the major labels. Atlantic was just straight up Atlantic. You know what I mean? So I don't think they were ready for hip hop artists. I don't think they knew what to do with him. So I remember him just being frustrated. He came down to Atlanta for Jack the Rapper, which they don't even do anymore. We spent a whole weekend. Atlantic played for our hotel suite at the High. We partied like it was 1999, and went in all the shows and stuff free. But he wasn't seeing any return, as far as he was having to go out and do shows on his own. So he wanted to get away. He said, I just want them to drop me. I just want them to drop me so he can be free and do his own thing. So I just think, just my opinion, I don't have any fact. I just think he signed early. I just think he was ahead of his time.
Yeah, some groups we talked to, it's hard. I'm thinking mostly we talked to Natural Elements recently, and it was they were I think on the verge of kind of they had a demo deal, and they were on the verge of maybe bigger things with I want to say Tommy Boy, and they just Tommy Boy or the label, whichever it was, couldn't really figure a way to kind of market them because their gimmick was that they had no gimmicks, that they're just good quality music. And I felt like with Ill Biscuits and Kleph stuff in general too, that might be similar. Maybe there wasn't an angle for marketing, but it's good quality music that's kind of stood the test of time, and you can see that with all the people that appreciate it and still buy up the originals, as well as I think it was released maybe a year or two ago on actual vinyl, but collectors still appreciate good music. So How did the name Kleph Dollaz come about? Like, what did that signify?
Your guess is good as mine.
We have no idea.
We have no idea.
No.
And Ill Biscuits, I only heard about Ill Biscuits when they were just about to drop the record, the single.
Right.
Mhm.
Have no idea. I don't know if the label said, hey, we need a name. And like I said, he's so creative. I don't know. Everything means something. It's not, you believe if he did it, it had a meaning behind it. I have no idea where the Kleph.
Yeah, Dita touched on that one.
His middle name is Keith, and so we thought, he just picked up that and just did something with it, and then kept the D for Durant. But so he was still whatever. But we really never really found out why he would buy that.
Yeah.
But
What did Dita say?
Friends,
I don't know.
Yeah,
Dita said that being two guys from Virginia, they had to do something to kind of be sort of street ready when they were going up to New York for like kind of the trips you were talking about as far as maybe recording or just getting started on the project and everything. And he was saying I think Dita carried a biscuit, and they were like, y'all are ill for carrying that around, so it became Ill Biscuits. Like
that could be it.
It could be, but it's so funny because Dita has always been Dita to us, though.
Yeah,
like he
was
always. We used to call him Dita Bam Bam.
Yeah,
and so he dropped the Bam Bam and just became Dita. Yeah. So, but that was always his nickname. But then Kleph was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this one, JD. Do you know much behind Kleph's 12-inch single Maria and the Dawn?
I don't know a lot about that one.
Okay, no worries. Well, can you talk a bit more about Ill Biscuits and kind of how Atlantic came into the picture?
Well, Cam Walker, the guy that had Full Clap, Cam became his first manager.
Okay.
So Cam, being from New York, had a lot of connections. So the way Kleph and Lord Finesse came together was because of the Cam relationship. And so, because Cam was going by, hey, I got this kid, he's nice on the mic. And so Lord Finesse heard him. And so Lord Finesse is the one who produced the 22 Years. And on the flip side, you had Beyond Understanding. So they began to push that because Lord Finesse was like, hey, you need a hot record. I'm going to produce it. And so, of course, everybody was with it. And now how Bryant Reed of Atlantic Records got a hold of it, still don't know. We just know a lot of DJs will, passing out. There's no social media, what I'm saying? There's nobody, just sending links and stuff. So when Bryant Reed reached out to him, everybody thought it was a joke. He's like, no, this Bryant Reed from man, thought it was a joke until, he somehow convinced him that he was reaching out to him. And then Bryant Reed, is the brother of L.A. Reid, from Babyface, LaFace. So he was new to the game. And I just think he was just trying to, find something hot to establish his career. I met him later on here in Atlanta, and I still don't know what he's doing. I forgot
about that Lord Finesse connection. I forgot about that. And,
that was.
Talking to sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I remember talking to Kleph about Kari Entertainment too when I first met him.
That was Cam's company. So Cam developed Kari. I want to say Kari was either his sister's name or something, and he used it. But that was the first. So it was Kari Entertainment. So they were using Kari Entertainment to kind of get things rolling. But it was because of Cam, linking up with that, getting him linked up with Lord Finesse, and then Lord Finesse taking him in the studio. And they just banging out songs, on the Ill Biscuits record, you got Buck Wild is doing some stuff on there, Tony L. So it was a lot of different, it was a lot of different producers, but all the writing, that was all Kleph.
I think Mike Lowe.
Mike Lowe did God Bless Your Life. He did the beat for God Bless Your Life. Yeah. So that was the, like I said, it was, going from Cam to Lord Finesse, then Lord Finesse kind of spreading his wings and reaching out to different people liking Kleph and say, hey man, let's work with this kid. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it all jumped off.
Yeah, and Ness and Cam are actually cousins. Okay. So I think that helps with that connection too. So when Cam started his like Johnny was saying, his management company, he did have that quick connection with Ness to be able to say, hey, look, I have somebody I need you to look at. And that's how that connection came together.
I know he's been through Richmond a few times, hear about him, at certain record stores or digging with folks and stuff. JD, for the Apollo performance, was that big for Kleph and the group, or was it just kind of?
It was huge because there's a little part it's on the Ill Biscuits record, on the Chronicle of Toulouse, where he says, we're fat in Virginia, but New York said we're whack, because they said that. They're like, y'all from Virginia, y'all got to be whack. And then he went on the stage and killed it. Got a standing O, you know what I'm saying? So he kind of, helped. I mean, that being from Virginia was a big thing, because I don't have the stats in front of me, but he might have been the first artist to sign a major label, because he came before all these people that are big time stars now. And I don't know if you know Black Liquid. I mean, I think he just go by John Johnson now, John, but he's doing like some teaching on that at some local schools about, hey, before all these big stars, Missy and Timbaland and the Neptunes and all that, there was this guy named Kleph Dollaz. The Boogie Monsters were doing their thing then, so it was a lot of other people who kind of paved the way. But to get somebody from Virginia to sign a major label deal, that was a big deal.
Yeah, that Boogie Monsters is somebody we want to talk to as well. I need to work on that. You talked a bit about the early tapes and recordings. Like, do you remember, like, as far as equipment, like what he was using? Kind of. I know when I met him, he had I think the ASR keyboard was like his main thing, and then he had a MPC as well with I think a button completely gone, but like. He made it all work. A couple keyboards, and he had a board like at his desk, like to like kind of mix and kind of everything.
He had a lot of stuff, at the time he passed, that a lot of producers weren't even using anymore. But he was so able to make it work. He was like, I don't need no new stuff. I can make this work, But I honestly, I can't remember all the early stuff. We went to different studios as well during the early times. There was a guy named Dwayne Calvin. He's called him Decal. He had a studio over in Hopewell, so we used to do a lot of the early stuff over there. At that time, they were going by 007, and it was a lot of that was recorded there. But as far as like the actual equipment, I can't remember. I know it was a lot of stuff that people were using at the time. Like getting into production. But at the latter years of his life, he just kind of held on. Like you said, buttons were missing. Probably was a lot of buttons missing. But he knew how to make it work. So
I know some folks we talked to, like they did like pause button mixes, or like I was curious if he like did stuff like that as well. Or
I know that he spent a lot of time in my mother and father's closet in the room, in his bedroom, and he used to just have a couple of cassette tapes, right, Johnny, going back and forth and re-recording. I mean, that's how he really started as a kid. But and then of course he got hip to the music and being able to pick up equipment, and some people were giving away stuff, and and he would take it on, and that's why I probably didn't have buttons, but he would make it work. He would make it work. I know he worked with DJ Lonnie B, got some stuff for him, like they partnered together to like get more equipment. So it was amazing how he came about getting all the things that he had.
How did Kleph's work as a youth counselor influence his music and approach to working with young people? I mean, it sounds like y'all were kind of hearing more about that maybe after the fact. Is that true?
I mean, once he gave his life to Christ, and like that last 4 or 5 years, I mean, he was just focused on, glorifying God with his music. The beat stayed hot. He just changed the messages. And, when he was younger, he kind of got in a little trouble. He was a little bit of a follower. And as he got older, became a leader. And so I remember him telling me that he said he saw a lot of himself in some of those kids when he was that age. And so, he actually wanted to mentor them and help them, see things better. Some kids was coming out of poverty-stricken homes, and all they saw was, drug selling and death. And so those kind of kids he worked with. And I just think that his own personal experience and just wanted him to inspire the youth, hence God's morning. That's why you take creativity and the children. Those were the two things that he was passionate about. And but he had a heart. He was a good person, man.
Oh yeah, he used to go and just pick up people's kids and spend the day with them. He was I'll tell you this, he was a very good uncle. My daughter spent summers with him. And then when he worked at Rosie Greer and did the Boys and Girls Club and stuff, they would go to work with him, and they till this day still talk about that involvement with him and how he would handle other children when they were around. And he was just always into making sure that kids understood that they had a purpose in life. And, and if they needed an outlet, music could be that outlet, or something in the arts could be that outlet, which is why, that's our mission and vision for God's Morning Foundation.
Yeah. Were your parents that way? I'm curious, like, or did they have a big record collection or music?
Yeah. I mean, I remember my mom being a part of a record club, and back then you purchase the records, they send the records to your house.
Right.
Like you go to the front door and he'd have Jeffrey Osborne and P-Boy Bryce and Earth, Wind and Fire records, albums, that's how far back we talking about.
Yeah.
But I mean, music was always a big deal for us. And then, like I said, Trina and I, playing in the band. I wanted to play the trumpet, and the guy told me I didn't have trumpet lips, so I need to play a woodwind. And I was like, I'm not playing the clarinet, so I'm gonna play the saxophone. And I just think that all of that was building. We were in music, and then he was watching, because I know I remember some time had passed. I don't know what age he was. He used to sneak into my saxophone box and put it together and play it, but he never would put the pieces back, and I would notice it. And I said, "You've been in my stuff," and he was trying to learn how to play the saxophone then. So I think that just seeing his older siblings, in music, in the marching band, stuff like that, and then, like I said, hip hop came along, and that just changed the whole game. So I just think all of those influences, kind of helped him.
Yeah, my parents would tell you they can only play the radio, though. They didn't play any instruments at all.
Definitely.
Yeah, I remember when I met him, he was very, welcoming and invited me over to the house and stuff. And it was just like, walls lined with records,
records, crates and crates.
Yeah, and I was, and I was digging too, and I was just like, man, that's still a lot of records.
Yeah, because I mean, he would get stuff and cut up. I mean, he using Allman Brothers stuff and cut it up and make a beat to it. And I mean, I tell people that I talk to about my brother, I said he was a genius. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of both of my siblings. My sister's amazing. My brother was just phenomenal, artist in person. And as the big brother, I'm proud of them, man. And so I get chills sometimes talking about him. And I tell people, I say, go look him up on YouTube, and they'll come back and say, man, your brother was a beast.
Yeah, I do the same thing. So Drew, I wanted to know if you knew anything about, there's a hip hop museum, I believe it's at William and Mary University. I'm sorry, the College of William and Mary. That's what it is. But I do know that they were doing a lot of research on him as well. And there should be some information about him within those walls of that college. So that was probably like 2 or 3 years ago. But there's definitely something about hip hop flourishing now. And it's nice to know that his name is being witnessed in that space as well.
Yeah, we talked to El Bravador, and he had a documentary that he's kind of, I think, recutting about sort of the history of Richmond hip hop. But and we talked to DJ Saeed and Kindu, who also kind of grew up in Petersburg. They moved out to Tacoma, but it sounds like Petersburg kind of had an interesting start with hip hop as well. Just, I think, mostly because of the military families,
And Virginia State had a lot to do with it too, because DOS Effects dropped around that time. We Want Effects was hot at that time that my brother was getting into hip hop as well. So having them, these guys go to Virginia State and they got this record that's blowing up all over the country, and a lot of artists came through Virginia State from up top, from New York. So I think a small town like Petersburg, the military, and then of course Virginia State had a lot to do with it. Petersburg had a real full hip hop, culture going on.
I remember, I think when I got the DOS Effects tape, it mentioned either Virginia or Virginia State in the line of notes, and I thought that was interesting. I didn't realize, here in They Want Effects that they had a Virginia connection, but I think they had a it's like a what do you call it? The series, it's not Unseen. It's like the BET series where they Unsung, yeah. So they had a DOS Effects Unsung, that was cool.
They mentioned they were standing right in front of Virginia State. It was cool when we did that record.
It's cool to hear that background.
So, it's just funny how people from New York was coming down to VA, and I honestly, like, living in Atlanta, the hip hop in Richmond to me is more raw than this stuff here. Because I'm used to the griminess, we love the 808, and you want to hear the crackling of the record. That's hip hop to me. all this old clean stuff and all this, that's not really hip hop. And so, like I tell my children now, my sons, I say, y'all just don't know. Y'all don't know what hip hop is. Go play your uncle's stuff. Then you'll hear hip hop. And because, like I know, Dougie Fresh or Big Daddy Kane, Kumo D, they could say they coming to Atlanta tomorrow. It'll sell out. Because that's those people we grew up on. Their fans now are in their 50s. They're 50. And so it's just different. You know what I mean? So I just think that up in that area, people they sleep on Virginia. But Virginia, man, I'm telling you, there's some hot MCs in Virginia. Yeah. Hot.
How did Cleph's faith and involvement with is it Mount Olivet Church?
Olivet?
Yeah. How did that shape like his personal and like professional life? It sounds like it was
I think it was very, very instrumental in his the way he was before he passed. He and his bishop were very close. Yeah. He supported Darrell immensely. Would have him come and he did videos in the church. He
was the audio video guy.
Yeah. So and he was their audio video guy. You're right, Johnny. But yes, it was very. He had a family there. Everybody knew him. Everybody loved him, and we got to know them well. Because I lived in Jersey and Johnny was in Georgia, so we only came to know them. He brought us all together, to say the least, right? So, but yeah, they were very instrumental in his the way he was living the latter part of his life.
Right after he passed, I moved back to Richmond for 2 years, and I was actually going to Mount Olivet, so I got a chance to really talk with Bishop Husband. His first name is Darrell, just like my brother, just spelled different. Darrell Husband. And I remember going to Bible study, and one night after Bible study, me and him, the bishop, just sat on the steps right there in the pulpit, and he was just telling me stories about my brother. Said he remember because he was dating his stepdaughter. Kleph dated the bishop's stepdaughter. That's how he came to Mount Olivet. And he said he remember him walking in. He said, "Who's this tall, long, skinny guy with these long dreads?" And she's like, "Oh, that's my boyfriend." And so he got to know him, prayed for him, just helping him kind of get his life. Found out he was dibbed and dabbed in music. He became the audio video guy, but he loved my brother.
Yeah, and he actually had him on one of his albums, or Any Given Sunday.
Well, he's in the video. In the testimony, video. My testimony. That church when he runs into the church, that's Mount Olivet, and that's the bishop that's walking back and forth holding the Bible. That the bishop was very supportive. He let him minister on Sunday. Hip hop artists. He brought in a whole group, and they were wearing fatigues. And the bishop was sitting on the front wearing fatigues. And in one of the songs, Deliver Us, Kleph said, the bishop talked about giving a tithe. He said, "I'm thinking about using that dough to go get high." And threw his hands up in the air. So that's how much he supported him, And that's that's the Square in the Circle album, the song called Deliver Us. That's a lyric in there. And I saw that video and I was like, wow. But he allowed him he gave him that space. But, a lot of churches will stay away from that. But Bishop Husband, he really supported him. And I'll tell you another quick story. They were going to perform at the Camel. And Kleph was kind of a little bit weary about it. He wasn't sure if he should or not. So he said he went to the bishop. Bishop said, he asked him, he said, "They're asking me to come perform to the Camel." And Bishop told him, he said, "They're not coming to church. So you got to go to them." He said, he looked at my brother. He said, just feel like the weights just fell off his shoulders. And that's the one where he did worship live, the video that you actually going to show that night. And he called me and he was a little nervous. I said, "Man, just go do what you do. Just do what you do." And
he
some
called
people,
both of us.
He
called me that night as well.
Killed it.
And then he called me afterwards and said, "Sis, I don't know what I just done."
You could hear the audience, how they were responding to him because they're hearing the beats and then they're hearing the messages and they're like, "Man, he's talking about God." And was killing it. Crowd got their hands in the air and everything. And some things they were saying that I can't say on this show. But yeah, I mean, I don't believe it was by accident. I'm just going to be honest. I just think that he was called to do what he did. And the fact that he passed when he's 40, that's significant spiritually. The number 40. So yeah, I don't think it was by accident.
And my college roommate was the owner and one of the founders of the Camel. It's been interesting to see it go through its like changes and iterations. Can we talk about some of the initiatives and programs beyond scholarships that God's Morning Foundation has undertaken to support at-risk youth?
Sure, absolutely. Well, we haven't gotten really past the scholarships. We were looking for a way to try to have like summer camps and programs like that that would really resonate with, especially younger kids that are not even in high school. But I work full time. Johnny works full time. My parents really don't. They're older and don't have the resources to be able to support. But so we've limited to just really awarding the scholarships once a year. We've also been trying to get it to a standpoint where we can actually have residual, scholarships other than just the first year, if we could. But of course, funding plays a major role in us being, unable to do it as like that. But I'm proud to say that in the 12 years that we've been, or 11 years that we've been a foundation, we've given away over $100,000 in scholarships to students, because we're not just doing one child every year. Sometimes we have three. So it's based on however the money comes in. We're able to give out money to help support them with their dreams and aspirations, and that's the whole key. But eventually I would love to be able to have like summer programs and have we have some family members that are also in the music industry that or in some of Darrell's friends to actually work with some of these students with videography, photography, cinematography, just giving them some types of lessons or something like that. But we just haven't had the resources to formulate something like that. I am talking to a couple other people that have their own foundations to try to see about partnerships and how we can actually grow together, because a lot of them need brick and mortar in order to be successful, and we don't have that. So if I can try to find a way to maybe go to a YMCA or Boys and Girls Club or something similar to that, and just say we want to offer these classes free of charge to those at-risk youth, just to be able to start somewhere. But then again, it's like, where do you do it? Do you do it in Jersey? Do you do it in Georgia? Do you do it in North Carolina? Do you do it in Richmond? It's like, where does that formulate? Because we're a national organization, so it can really be anywhere. But that would be some of the things we would love to see happen in the future. But like I said, right now it's more about raising the money, giving scholarships. COVID played a role in stopping us from doing some of the events. We did a 5K, we had golf outings, we had, things like that to raise money. But since COVID, we really haven't bounced back yet. But we're trying to start having events again so we can raise awareness and raise money.
How does the foundation identify and select students for the scholarships?
So we have a criteria on the website that states 2.0 or better, from a GPA standpoint. You got to go to school for somewhere in the arts, which is why the video that you showed earlier, I don't want people to think that it's just for music. It can be dance, it could be film, it could be cosmetology. All of those things are part of the arts, but a lot of people think of the arts in the tunnel, right? They just think of music, and it's more than that. And we have seen, and we have had
sculpture,
we had people to go to, apply for the scholarship for fashion design, things like that. So it's a very wide spectrum. And we've been successful at awarding scholarships for those such things. And it's really nice that, they become part of the GMF family, and we follow them. We connect with them on social media, see how they're doing. Some of them are having children now and got married. Yeah. So it's really nice to see that. And I just moved to Charlotte 3 years ago, and one of the scholarship recipients just moved to Charlotte last week. And so we connected. And so we're going to get in together to have dinner. But it's like, you know what? It's not like one and done for us. We really consider them part of the family, and we try to stay in touch with them, and we watch them and cheer them along the way while they're going through their collegiate journey.
Yeah. And I like the fact that it's all over the country. We started in Richmond. We started at Petersburg High School with Devontae Raines, our 2014 recipient. He's now 28 years old. That's crazy. He's 18, and he's teaching, music. He's got his own choir. He's doing a lot.
And he's also started his own foundation.
Yeah, he's got his own foundation. So I just like now the fact that we're, 501c3, that it's all over. We had a young lady out of Steamboat, Colorado. We're like, how did you find us? And she was like, you just Google, scholarships for the arts, and God's Morning popped up to the top.
Yeah, and then and then also they are seeing it now. It is hitting the rosters in the schools, and the counselors are able to share that with their students, especially if they have in the arts. To be like, hey, here's a scholarship program that you might want to look into to gain some money. So I have had students to tell me that they got it from their counselor, and that makes me feel really good to see that they're able to see that we are out there doing something good to help those students. So it's really nice.
Besides maybe the ones that you've already kind of touched on, are there any other success stories or notable achievements that the students that y'all have supported?
Yeah, I just saw one. Well, a good friend of mine, her name is Cynthia Moore. She's a writer and director. She does, plays and all that. Her daughter, Josca Moore, was one of our recipients, and she attended NYU. She's out in LA right now. She's been on a couple of shows, doing some work as extra. She's doing something right now with Jack A. Harry. They posted a picture the other day. So she's out there doing her thing. Hannah Howell, the one that's from Steamboat, she's been dancing.
On Broadway.
Yeah, Broadway. A couple of them have gotten married, like Trina said. They're successful. And like Trina said, we don't just give these scholarships. They're like family. And what I would love to do, and this just really just came to me, Trina, as we were talking.
I know, a reunion.
A reunion. I was just thinking about that. I was like, it'd be nice if we can get them all in one place.
Yeah.
Have a reunion, or 10-year reunion. I mean, we're past 10. Well, this is
right.
It was 2014. Devontae was 2014. And
yes, we have had people ask us about a reunion.
I think that would be nice if we could just get them together, because the thing is, like, a lot of all of them, they never knew Kleph. You know what I'm saying? So when they have to go research him, which is a part of the criteria, they have to do an essay. So they got to go research, and a lot of them can go right to YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And I remember one young lady, I can't remember her name, but when she wrote her essay, she was quoting some of his lyrics. She was writing them in there. I had tears in my eyes because I knew she had done her research. She had listened to the songs, and she was incorporating lyrics from different songs in her essay. And I'm like, Trina, she got to get something, because she put in the work. You know what I mean? And so the fact that they only know him because of the research, man, and when they go to the mural and take pictures and post it, I love that when people share that, because everything, it's like it keeps his memory alive. It's been 12 years. 12 years. And, I remember getting a message from somebody on Facebook, a direct message. And the person asked me, I think it was a guy, he said, how do y'all keep going so hard? Because you see me and Trina out here posting stuff about God's Morning. And I wrote back simple, LOVE. That's how we go so hard, because he meant something. I want to go back to something real quick, if I can.
Yeah, of course.
When you asked Trina about how God's Morning started, Trina, I don't know if you remember this, but remember when we was at the grave site, and when they were, we had made it to the grave site, and the film director, and I know this is standard, they say, this concludes the services for Darrell K. Durant. I got angry. And I looked at Trina. I said, it's not over. And Trina, this is exactly what you said. She's like, hell no, it ain't over. We had no clue what we were going to do. Right. But to me, it was so final what he said. I know he didn't say nothing wrong, but I wanted to get up and fight him. Because I'm saying myself, what do you mean this concludes? That means it's final. And we knew we had to do something. So God's Morning keeps that going.
Yeah, it was definitely some subliminal messages that we were receiving. And like I said, that video that I got from DJ Mark actually sent it to me, and he looked at the camera. He was like, "I'm not done yet." You know how you did when people out. And I called Johnny. I was like, "I got it. We talked about it. We got to do something about it." And the other thing that was very interesting is, like, I had Darrell's iPad. I still have his BlackBerry phone. I mean, I would never throw it away. And he would write notes in there. Yeah. And he would just talk about the kids that he was involved with. And it was just so beautiful. And it just made me want to do more. So, I just started doing some research and work. And, it's pretty much a family organization. Johnny, my kids are involved. My mom and dad read every single essay that we receive. They have a voice in who the money goes to. And I think that's also a good healing for them, to lose their youngest child at such a young age. And, they always say a parent should never bury a child. But I think that us having the foundation has given them a purpose as well.
How can people get involved with God's Morning Foundation or support its mission?
Donate. But literally, you can
through the website.
Yes, absolutely. But it's I would say just reach out. Like I said, we're going to try to get back to doing some events. I'm actually speaking to one of my nephews here in Charlotte. He does a walk for awareness for suicides. And he has a lot of connections within Charlotte Mecklenburg. And since I'm new here, he's going to connect me with some individuals about trying to get a 5K together and things like that. So he and I talked about that about a couple months ago. So if there's going to be some things that are going to be coming up, I would love to make it more a rotational situation where we go from city to city to kind of like get people involved. But yeah, just do research on who we are, see the successes that we have done. It's not about how much money you donate, but every little bit helps. I mean, we have people that are on a monthly plan because you can sign up to have money come monthly. We also can receive matches from your employers because we are a 501c3. If you were to donate, $100, your company will give us $100. But it's things like that. If you do your research, in ways of helping, $10 a month goes a long way. It's not about, like I said, about the quantity of money that you give, but how you give it. And it just gives back twofold. So, I would say just really donations are the main thing that we're looking for to help, inspire or help touch a child in need. And then there will be other events that we will have forthcoming, and everything will be on our website. And also sign up for our newsletter that my daughter, who's a marketing guru, she sends out electronic newsletters about what we have going on as well.
Cool. Thank you.
Donation is tax deductible.
It is very well. Yeah, 501c3s are tax deductible.
Tax deductible. As soon as you hit the button, you get a receipt.
Okay. I think we kind of covered the future plans for the foundation there, and how you kind of continue to, shine a light on Kleph's legacy. Is there anything else you wanted to mention or add? The only thing I wanted to mention real quick before we go off is, JD, if you ever get a chance to rip those tapes digitally, I'd love to hear it. So, and I know I'm not the only one, so I just wanted to mention
that. Definitely.
He still gets people reaching out to him saying, "Do you have any beats?"
All the time.
Yeah, I'm not a rapper. I don't need beats, but I just, I love music, and I love, especially early stuff. I always like, before kind of the labels corrupted people.
Yes, true.
But, the true raw essence,
Yeah. It's so interesting that we're hearing that a lot of people in Europe are, buying his music, and and Johnny has it set up with ASCAP that anybody that's making purchases, the money comes to the foundation. So just even by making a purchase or streaming his music, you're benefiting the organization. So it's a lot of ways that you can actually support.
Yeah. And we're gonna keep you in the loop also with the up and coming events. Yeah, so you'll know what's going on.
So I said I was gonna play Worship and God Bless Your Life. Do you have a preference on order of those, or either one's fine?
I would say start with what he came out with first. Do God Bless Your Life first, and then Worship. Yeah.
All right. Thanks. I appreciate it, Trenna and Johnny, JD. Appreciate y'all's time. Thank you for being here. And
thank you for having us.
Thank you. Appreciate you. All right.
Peace.
Bye.
All right, thanks.
Word. Yo, life is definitely real. You gotta take it to heart, you know what I'm saying? It's so much confusion. Today on the streets. So for us to live forever, you God bless our lives. You God bless our lives. Check it. When I was young, I never had to dodge bullets. My people's always taught me live life to the fullest. But dragging me to church 7 days a week couldn't keep me off the streets with the evil that I wreak, you see. My tongue was ill, I spilled language with profanity. Working odd jobs couldn't buy me my vanity. Insanity was the edge of reality. And when I tried to slide right, wrong was always calling me. The devil takes many colors and shapes. My mind was raped as an embryo, walking through hell. But now I feel twice as stable about my living. The crew's multiplying and so to rest with the vision. Ayo, my vision's clearer. I hear sounds of the unheard word. I seen sights to bring scars to your life. Living days to the curb. Reading scriptures never save me from day-to-day drama. Where's the path that you pay for me? I'm still struggling, scratching rhymes on the papers, squeezing scriptos and looking for the holy savior. Cause my behavior is that of one who wants to live trife. So God bless my life.
Yeah, God bless your life. Everybody, God bless your life.
God bless our lives.
Yeah, God bless your life. Everybody, God bless your life.
God bless our lives.
Yeah, God bless your life. Everybody, God bless your
God
life.
bless our lives.
Yeah, God bless your life. Yeah, God bless your
God
life.
bless our lives. It's hard to comprehend the days back when we was boys with big wheels, maturing from mice to men, running wild nappy heads with the pro kids, playing Simon Says and tag, but now that's dead. I grew to be rough, you couldn't tell me nothing about the world, cause I was always into something. I think I was the lightest kid out the clique, always quick to heat up beat, because I knew my crew would spark it. But out of dumb situations lies casualties, the skins got knocked, so here comes responsibility. Many of their heads planted seeds for the future to see. Let's try to mold them into shapes that we couldn't be. Friends came and friends went with the wind. Some either caught hot steel and others caught the state pen. Nothing but mayhem, I say to them, we should've tried to live right. So God bless our lives.
Yeah, God bless your life. Yeah, God bless
So
your
God
life.
bless our lives.
Everybody, God bless your life. Yeah, God bless
So
your
God
life.
bless our lives.
Everybody, God bless your life. Yeah, God bless
So
your
God
life.
bless our lives.
God bless your life. Yeah, God bless
So
your
God
life.
bless our lives. I'm steady dwelling over spilled milk. I'm never on the straight and narrow, cause the roads I walk, they tilt. Many choices and voices possesses me. Listen, see, evil got my mind locked in custody. Pressed by temptation, ayo, I'm facing life as a loner in a world with different races. My case is you're pure as a youngin', and nowadays they got me living life out of dungeon. I wonder and contemplating mishaps daily, while keeping my biz separated from the shady. There's nothing but untrue. I prove this fact to be fiction, but still I'm fishing for realism in the diction. While I'm rhyming, some of my peoples are out camping, lamping on Skid Row or south of the Hamptons, doing bits longer than Manson. I think I dance a jig when my niggas blow the gig. So God bless the dead and my peoples in the field. Your word to my man, baby, gotta keep it real.
Hey yo, word to God, you gotta keep it real. Word to God, baby, gotta keep it real. Yeah, God bless your life. Yeah, God bless
So
your
God
life.
bless our lives.
God bless your life. Yeah, everybody, God bless
So
your
God
life.
bless our lives.
God bless your life. Yeah, everybody, God bless
So
your
God
life.
bless our lives.
God bless your life. Yeah, everybody, God bless
So
your
God
life.
bless our lives.
Hold up, yeah. Yo, biscuits. Mike Lowe. We out.
I'm about to introduce these brothers one more time. When they come up on stage, man, y'all give them a warm round of applause. Because we put it all down like that. All right? Can I get that? That's what we say. On this song, it's a Wes Morgan song that's a hit right now on the gospel genre. And I heard this joke, I said, man, this joint is fresh. You know what I'm saying? Listening to praise going to work or something. And I was like, man, I'm gonna flip that joint, man. So I flipped this record called Worship by Wes Morgan. He's an ill spiritual leader. But anyway, Tamir Rock and Joey Gallo, give it up for him, please. What did Mike say? Let's go. Oh man, this is what I do like every morning, every night. Here we go. So everybody, put your hands high for the Most High. Put them high, y'all. Put them high, y'all. Put your hands high for the Most High. Put your hands high for the Most High. Put them high, y'all. Put them high, y'all. Put them high.
You say good things come to those who wait. I'm looking down at my watch, you running late. I know I'm wrong to sound a little bit conceited, so forgive me, you was there every single time that I needed. And I don't ever wanna let you go, I pray I won't. If I was you, I would've left, I hope you don't. I know what's been said about me, not true. It doesn't matter if whoever said it's not you. I normally do whatever it is I feel like. I'm Just talking from a heart that didn't heal right. Unspoken prayers, wrapped it up in 16. I'm praying to a God that doesn't even know what it means. I can do it all, that's an understatement. I'm waiting for the great puppet master to orchestrate it. No light in the tunnel, I'm still going through. So when I'm coming out, I'm shouting out where the honors due.
I know this chapter of my life is hard to read, but it's written out in ink, everything I bleed. Fell for them little tricks he had up his sleeve. Should've believed in the first thing I seen, but I try to balance it out on triple beams. Trouble myself trying to be everything, but there's only one me, one destiny. Life still tries to get the best of me. Here's the recipe, the Holy Trinity. Father, Son, and the Spirit is all in me. Cause every day I hear the Lord's voice calling me. The way I was living, I think he's appalled at me. So much greatness that all needs to see. Now flesh and blood against principalities. So every morning, every night, I'm on my knees. I'm on my knees. A brother choose to worship.
And if they can't understand that, forgive them too. It's like drama gotta happen before they call on you. Pray to you every night for dough, then they get rich and forget everybody they know. They don't understand what they possess, can all be taken like that. In the beat of a breath, like when you put my man Diggs to rest. You knew what was best, cause on earth he was also stressed. Trust me, I understand you the man. Doing crazy times, there's only one pair of prints in the sand. I know they wasn't placed by me. I feel right now, I'm not everything you want me to be, so I just strive. Blessing that I survived, but many friends never made it up to 25. I live till I'm gone, hopefully bless me with kids, keep my legacy strong.
Yes, sir. Shout out to my man Kleph Dollaz. Yo, my man Kleph Dollaz been working hard on this set, man. He included Sean Chappelle. He brought Erica out here. He brought Dion out here. He brought Illa out here. He brought Joey Gallo out here. He brought Tamia out here. He put us all in suits. You know why? Because cats that perform nowadays don't have showmanship. We out here giving y'all showmanship, giving y'all the uniformity with the uniform. So either run with us or run from us. Shout out my man Kleph Dollaz. No. Shout out my man Kleph Dollaz.